Begin transmission. This is a message from the anonymous charity, now known as George. Today's broadcast date is July 22, 2019. This broadcast is an add-on to our previous upload on the Book of Enoch. This upload, the one just mentioned, and our series Bloodlines are all linked there. Over the coming weeks we will tie them together for you and share with you what these so-called elites have known all along. Let's begin. We have traced the biblical references to giant races and individuals in the Old Testament. These next broadcasts endeavors to investigate further information on the above by looking at the fragmentary remains of the script on the giants in the Aramaic, about 300 BC, and Manichaean, about 250 AD, versions. Aramaic is believed to be the language in general use in Israel at this time and therefore thought to be the language spoken by Christ. The fragmentary Aramaic version was found among the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947. The Manichaean, also fragmentary, is believed to be by Mani, circa 215–276, the founder of a heretical religious sect. Although it is important to scrutinize the two versions just mentioned, a more coherent story is to be obtained in the Book of Enoch. See our previous video upload below, a version known as Enoch 1. Especially, the Book of Watchers, part of the Book of Enoch. Chapters 136. Enoch is one of the most intriguing characters in the Bible, as he was at the end, transported to heaven and did not die in the normal sense. Enoch lived before the flood, and was the great-great-grandfather of Noah. He was clearly an object of fascination throughout the centuries and many stories and legends accreted around him. The Book of Giants enlarges on the mention in Genesis 6–4 of giants being on the earth at this time. Probably the most arresting facet of the Book of Enoch is the telling of the sexual intermingling of human females with fallen angels. The resultant offspring were the giants who oppressed humanity and taught evil. Because of the wickedness which had come upon mankind, God decided to bring about the great flood. We are told that Enoch tried to intercede with heaven on behalf of the wicked angels but was unsuccessful. The Book of Giants expands this story and recounts the exploits of the giants. One can see how men decided to leave this out of the biblical canon. In the Book of Enoch, we read that the idea of mixing with human females was discussed and permitted by Shemi-Hazar, the leader of the wicked angels, some 200 in total. The Book of Giants dilates this story, especially being concerned with the activities of the two sons of Shemi-Hazar, Oyer, and Haiah. As stated, we have only fragments of the Book of Giants, part of which is concerned with the fateful dreams of the giants, Enoch's attempts to interpret them and his unsuccessful efforts to plead with God for the giants. We have stated that the fragments need to be reconstructed in order to achieve a more or less comprehensible narrative. The initial fragments tell of the descent from heaven of the rebel or wicked angels, who brought knowledge to mankind, but also wreaked great disruption and evil upon the earth. It is instructive to see parallel information in Genesis 6–4. Please take note, if you are reading these subtitles, the square brackets, or as we know them as the kill box, indicate my presumed connecting material. Round, normal brackets indicate my comments. Reconstructed narrative. There are several versions supposedly accounting for the descent of some of the angels to earth from heaven. Rebellion against the Godhead is a generic term. Details are variously ascribed. Lucifer, one-time chief of the angels, was, it seems, too proud to bow down before humans, as God wished, and furthermore became envious of his Maker, and was for his disobedience cast out of heaven. Other angels of like mind followed, and left heaven for earth. Eventually they became known as fallen angels. It does however seem as if the main reason for the descent was lust for the daughters of men, which led to sexual intercourse between their now wicked angels and earthly women. The principal transgressors were a body of angels known as Watchers, whose task was supposed to be to watch and guide the actions of humanity. Clearly, they betrayed this trust, and it appears were the instigators of sexual commingling. One of the leaders, at this stage, of the proposed rebellion was one called Shemiraza, who was persuaded into allowing himself and about 200 angels to adopt human form and go on this venture. It is clear from the above that pride and lust were the main driving forces of the defection. Overweening ambition was another. God banned these disloyal angels from heaven and eventually condemned them to an everlasting life of damnation. However, they in some measure attained their power. The result of their taking wives among human females was the birth of monstrous beings and wicked giants usually known as Nephilim. In Genesis 6.4 other words, there were giants on the earth in those days. They brought with them certain arcane knowledge but also created havoc among all earth dwellers. It is at this point that we begin with the Dead Sea Scrolls version of the Book of Giants. The reconstruction. These fallen angels knew the secrets of all things. At this time, sin was great on the earth. The wicked angels killed many people and begot giants, with mortal women. The wicked, former, angels, consumed everything that the earth produced, the great fish, the birds in the sky, all the fruit of the earth, all kinds of grain, the fruit of the trees, even beasts and reptiles they committed sin against, all the creeping things of the earth. They observed, watched all earthly things. They performed every harsh deed with harsh utterance upon male and female creation and among humanity itself. 200 angels had been persuaded to leave heaven for the earth. The 200 angels seized 200 donkeys, 200 asses, 200 sheep and rams of the flock, 200 goats, 200 beasts of the field from every animal and from every bird, for experiments in inbreeding with humans, and all types of miscegenation. As a result, monsters were created among all the perversion, due to mingling animal seed with mortal women. Similar to Egyptian gods, satyrs and possibly even dinosaurs. The historian Josephus mentions that Enoch had business in Egypt, then called Syriad. The monsters sought out flesh, which would be destroyed or perverted. Monsters and giants would arise who were lacking in true knowledge because they were abominations. Meantime the earth grew ever more corrupt and the giants more mighty. They considered trying to persuade other angels to come upon the earth, otherwise their tyranny might ultimately perish and die. All the time they were causing great corruption in the earth. If this aim did not suffice to perpetuate them, they would be finally destroyed, they believed. The fallen ones defiled all creation and begot giants and monstrous creatures, and corrupted all the earth, which was defiled by bloodshedding at the hands of the giants. But this did not suffice them, and they were seeking all the time to devour, destroy many, much more. The monsters attacked all creation. The giants are now troubled with portentous dreams, and Meway reports his dream to the rest of the giants. Apparently, he sees a tablet inscribed with several names immersed in water, which only has 3 names remaining when it emerges. The usual interpretation is that this symbolizes the death of all on earth except Noah and his sons. The story continues. Meway reported that men drenched the tablet in water so that it was covered. It was then lifted out and all the inscriptions but 3 have vanished. Meway goes to the others. They discuss the dream. This vision is cause for cursing and sorrow, said the group. I, said Meway, am the one who will be blamed most of the whole group, of those cast down out of heaven, and I shall have to go to hear the spirits of the slain complaining about their killers and crying out that we shall all die together and be made an end of. When I am sleeping, and dreaming, bread and dwelling, will be denied me. So, troubled with this vision, the monsters entered into the gathering of the giants. Then Noah spoke without trembling to Meway, who showed you all this vision. my brother Barakal, my father, was with me, as corroborator, and it seemed experienced the same vision. But before Maway had finished telling what he had seen in his dream, Oya said to him, now I have heard wonders. If a barren woman gives birth, parable, that would be an equal wonder. Thereupon Oya said to Haya, are we to be destroyed upon this earth? When they had finished discussing the dreams, both Oya and Haya wept before the assembled giants and monsters. Use your strength, the group counseled. Then Oya said to Haya, this doom is not for us but for Azazel, one of the wicked angels, for he showed most corruption to humanity. They, the good angels, surely will not let all their loved ones, the giants and monsters, be neglected. We are not to be cast down. You, addressing the crowd of giants, angels, fallen, and monsters, have strength and can resist. The giants, however, realize that fighting heaven is futile. Gilgamesh speaks. I am a giant, and by my mighty strength in my arm, I can vanquish anyone mortal. I have made war with them, mortals, in the past, but I am not now able to stand against my opponents who reside in heaven, and dwell in holy places. And not only this, but they are in fact stronger than I am. The day of the ravening wild beasts has come, and that of the wild man, as I am known. Then Oya said to him, I have been forced to have a dream. The sleep of my eyes vanished so that I could see a vision. Now I know that on the field of battle we cannot win, Gilgamesh. We will cover the epic of Gilgamesh at a later date. Oya describes his vision. I saw a tree uprooted except for 3 of its roots. While I was as it were watching, some beings, good angels, moved all the roots into this garden, but not the 3. The interpretation of this dream is similar to that of the earlier one. This dream vision concerns the death of our souls, said Oya, and those of Gilgamesh and all his companions. However, Gilgamesh said to me that all the forebodings concerned only the rulers of earth, the temporal, powerful ones, whom the leader of the good angels has cursed. The giants were glad at his words. Then, Oya turned and left the assembly. There are more dreams, the import of which is hostile to the giants. The dreamers report to the monsters and then to the giants. After this, 2 of them had visions. They were unable to sleep and they came to their comrades and told their dreams, to the assembly, their comrades, the monsters. They reported that in their dream they seemed to be observing a garden where gardeners, angels, were watering 200 trees and large shoots came out of their roots. Suddenly the garden became ablaze, so that the garden was destroyed and all the water evaporated. Then they went to the giants to tell them of their dreams. The suggestion was made to seek out the scribe and prophet Enoch to interpret the dreams. Let us seek out Enoch, the noted scribe, and he will interpret for us the dream. Thereupon Oya declared to the giants, I too this night had another dream, and behold the ruler of heaven came down to earth, and made an end of us. Such is the ending of my dream. Upon hearing this, all the monster and giants grew afraid and called Maway, the Titan. He came to meet the giants who pleaded with him and sent him to Enoch, the scribe. They, the giants, said to him, go to Enoch so that he may speak to you and then return saying, you have heard his voice. Oya spoke to Maway, and said to him, he, Enoch, will listen and interpret the dreams and tell us how long we giants have to live and rule on earth. After a journey through the heavens, Maway sees Enoch and speaks to him of his request. We will continue this on the 23rd July at 1745 Pacific. Join us then. This has been a message from the anonymous charity, now known as George. Today's broadcast date is July 22, 2019. End of transmission.